Badaducci. I met a girl on the A train. Yeah. We was wearing the same thing.
Welcome everybody to the Unnormalized Podcast. This is your host Frankie A, and I'm here with a really dope guest. We were just chatting about some stuff off camera, but I was like, let me fucking start hitting record because I think this is gonna be a good one, guys. Today I'm joined with a really up and coming. I mean, he's not really up and coming, but he's done a lot of work. His IDMB look is fucking ridiculous. But you may have seen my next guest in some pretty cool shows and movies. He's been in Gotham. He's doing some roles in Pledge, Trick, The Coming Horizon, and I mean, tons of stuff. So welcome with me, Aaron Dalla Villa. Thank you so much, Aaron, for joining me today.
What's going on, Frankie? Thanks for having me, man.
No problem, buddy. So, yeah, we were just chatting about some stuff that Aaron's got coming up. But before we jump into some of that, Aaron, I always like to give people an opportunity to tell folks out there that are watching and listening where you come from. Because I think what we talk about here at the Unnormalized Podcast is just doing shit with life that is not the conventional route going in life, the 9 to 5. You know, not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, sometimes we come to a crossroads in life and we're kind of faced with, do we do what our heart and our passion lies, or do we go with the safer kind of route, you know, not that a 9 to 5. Yeah, fuck that shit.
Fuck that.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit. Yeah, tell us a little bit where you've come from, growing up, things like that.
So I was born and raised in Suffolk, Virginia. I used to be really interested in politics. I wanted to get into politics, and then I also found music at a young age. I was listening to the jazz band, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. So I went to the school and I said, we couldn't afford it at the time to get me an instrument. So I said, hey, do you have any instruments that I could use? They had this huge tenor saxophone. And for people who know the saxophone sizes, it goes soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone. And tenor is huge, you know, and I used to have to carry the thing around and like rest it on my ankle just to play the thing. I got really good at it. And next thing I know, I'm in the Governor's School for the Arts. I auditioned for the Governor's School for the Arts, which is an arts program that you go half your school at regular school. Then you go to this arts program, which a lot of names have come out of, such as Grant Gustin, who's the girl that's about to play Tina Turner on Broadway, Adrienne Warren. You know, a lot of names have come out of Governor's School for the Arts. It's a really great program. And I fell into ballet at the same time. My sisters were dancers. And I fell into ballet. I said, I'm not doing ballet. I'm only doing hip-hop because I thought I could break dance a little bit and stuff. That's how I get popular at school. I did like one move, you know. Oh, that's cool, man. So I started doing that. And next thing I know, I auditioned for both the instrumental and the ballet thing. I got into the instrumental. I cried because I actually want to do the dance thing. So I did the instrumental thing for half a semester. And then they told me, this lady said to me, she said, Aaron, are you going to be able to lift those girls? I said, you fucking watch me, man. So, you know, working my ass off, hit the gym and stuff, and next thing I know, I'm top of my class. And, you know, I hustled my ass, and then after that, after school, I had an opportunity to go dance with the second company of a ballet company, and then I got to perform as a soloist with the main company for performance of Cinderella and also in the Nutcracker as well. And then I toured as a guest artist around the country, and it was through. So I've never had the stereotypical 9 to 5. I think it's stupid. I think most people out there are basically walking zombies. You know, we're forced into society. I say follow your passion with everything and give it everything. Fuck it, man. Roll the dice. You know what I mean? And live. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And I love that you're
people. They did. You know,
yeah, and I love that your career started kind of in music and in dance because you said you brought up hip hop, and that's kind of what I did. I was I did hip hop for like just recreational stuff, and then in school stuff, and then it branched out. I did some MTV shit.
What do you think about the battles, dude? I still like watching those on YouTube, man.
So I have a lot of dancers and choreographers coming up and coming on from the hit Fox show So You Think You Can Dance, because dance is a huge part of my life. I did it not professional, but in a more localized community, a lot of youth-based programs, and it's just something that I absolutely love. It's my passion, besides like all this other shit that I do. But dance is always something that like I gravitate towards. So like any form of dance is something that I appreciate. So I most people don't know, but for those who are in the dance world, how demanding ballet is, core work, mental, physical, just all of it. It's probably, dance is tough, but I think it's one of the most demanding genres in dance because it takes a lot of discipline from the body. I mean, lines and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate it, man, that you come from a background like ballet, but it probably lent that discipline and knowing yourself, knowing your body to the work that you're doing now as an actor. So I love that you come from that.
Tremendous. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I love that you come from a dance background as well. It taught me discipline and it taught me a work ethic. Definitely, the dance, it gave me a work ethic because dancers are some of the hardest working people and they don't get recognized enough for the work that they put in.
Yes, absolutely. It's funny that you say that because I did an interview with Comfort Fidoki, who is a huge not up and coming. She's doing her thing out there in the dance world, and she dances with Missy Elliott. And she basically said the same thing: how dancers normally rest in the background, but they're the ones that are get the least credit and probably do the most work. When they're performing and on stage and all that kind of stuff. So that just validates what you're telling us is that it's a underappreciated but hard ass shit that goes into it. A lot of rehearsing, a lot of physical conditioning, all that kind of stuff. So big ups to you for. I mean, I think it's really cool that you also explored that. Like that was maybe not something that you were initially kind of seeking out, but it kind of someone basically told you that, hey, you got some talent here and you need to do something with it. And you gave it, you know what I mean? Some people would just shut it down and be like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not my thing.
My dad hated it because my dad, oh no, seriously. Yeah. This typical, like, I don't want my son getting involved in ballet or whatever. Yeah. You know what I say to that philosophy? Fuck that.
Yeah. No.
Just like what happened with Good Morning America when that lady said, she joked on Prince, the young kid, for taking ballet and stuff. And I was like, yo, you have no idea what's coming after you. Then the whole dance community came at her. Don't you know that the dance community is huge, man? You don't mess with the dance community.
And we stick together, too, because we know how tough that shit is. And I'm glad that you brought that up about your dad because and that's a big reason why, because I'm a social worker by trade. So
really? So you've seen a lot of families with social abuse, with domestic violence, and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Man, that's some of the scariest acts of violence because it's controlled violence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I love what I do, but what I find intriguing is what I do and why I started this podcast, because I came up with the concept of unnormalized, doing my work with people that I do with life coach, because I'm a certified life coach as well. So do stuff with people in business and, achieving goals and all that kind of stuff. And then I do, I do mental health, basically social work for people who have severe mental health, behavioral health issues. And I tell them a lot that when they're kind of in a recovery process that, because they're so fixated on trying to be quote unquote normal. That's their goal, is because they've lived this unnormalized life for so long, whether it be in their head or whatever, that's what they're achieving. And I tell them that that's not the goal. The goal is to stay unnormalized, because that's what's going to help you set yourself up for success in recovery and life goals and all that kind of stuff. So that's how this whole thing's kind of was the springboard. Plus I love pop culture, so I kind of just infused them together. But that when you say that about your dad, it strikes a chord in me, because when I was doing my thing coming into the dance world, first of all, I was a white boy from the inner city who did hip hop. I was kind of like the purple unicorn, because nobody really saw anything like me kind of in my community do what I do. So it gained a lot of like attention. I'm originally from the Ironbound section of Newark, is where they filmed Sopranos. So it's in Jersey. It's in most people know like Newark Airport, but there's a small
rough.
Yes.
Rough.
But I grew up in a small kind of section of that, which is predominantly Italian, Irish, because I'm Italian. And that's where they actually filmed the first couple seasons of Sopranos, because it had that authentic Italian mobster mafiosa, because that's where it laid in there. So when I went into my senior year of high school and was doing all this dance and was getting all this recognition, I had set up, going to college for journalism and stuff like that, and got accepted to colleges. But I got opportunities thrown my way because of dance, like dancing off Broadway and stuff like that. And it was at that juncture where I could have went left at the crossroads and got into a field like how you did. What I did was I took the route, because my father, God bless him, I love my dad, great man, but he's a businessman, and he was like, dance, like, how are you gonna, what are you gonna do with this? There's no career. That's not a career. So I went the college route. So that's why I like talking to people like yourself, because you need to send the message out there that if you take the other course and direction, that look what can come out of it. So I appreciate that when you said how like your dad was not totally buying into the fact that you were doing ballet.
He played the trumpet growing up. He was part of a band called Bandit. He was in the jazz band. He was over the moon when I started doing the tenor saxophone. And he was like, oh man, that's great. Then my mom was the one who was like, yeah, they need a guy for the dance team, and she was really on game with that. So I started getting the dance, and I started being pulled more to that than music. And that was where like, oh, I wish you stuck with the saxophone and stuff. Then I got really good at dance, and then everybody was like, oh, he's great and stuff. So then he was proud of me. He was like, that's my son and whatever and stuff. But man, I don't care. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna pursue what I want to do. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah, and it seems like, just from talking to you shortly, that and hearing a little bit about your backstory, that you tried things out, you excel, and you like that's awesome that you can be open to that, give yourself to it, and then take in whatever comes from it. I mean,
people are so afraid to even take a chance at things. You have to be willing to fail. I have failed multiple times. That's how you get better at acting. You fail. Then maybe you do really well on a project. You're like, oh, I'm starting to get the hang of this. In dance, whatever, I've had some of my biggest mistakes on stage. So embarrassing. But I learned from all of that. No matter what people can say or whatever and stuff, I learned from that, and I became better from it.
That's awesome. And so why acting?
Literally. So I've always been called an actor growing up. My grandmother, God rest her soul, she would call me Jim Carrey. She'd say, "You look like Jim Carrey. You look like Jim Carrey." And next thing I know, I'm dancing with the company, and I get injured. And it's an injury that's like I'm just a workhorse, My work ethic. If I want it now.
Yes.
I started giving myself shin splints from just overworking myself and not resting enough. And these were bad shin splints. I'm talking, it was so bad. I would go to the beach, the water would wash up against my shins, and I'd be in excruciating pain. And it got so bad to the point that when I was auditioning for Orlando Ballet, I would literally come home at the end of the day, put my whole legs in an ice tub, and then I put my whole legs in a hot, trash can filled tub, you know what I mean? And then sleep with my legs elevated, wrapped in compression air casts, just to get through the next day, dude. I mean, I put myself through hell. Then all of a sudden, I was auditioning for this company in Chicago, River North Dance Chicago. They ended up going with another guy. It was down to 3 people. They ended up going with another guy. I was like, okay, I'm going to go audition for another company. I hung out with my friend. I hopped over a turnstile in Chicago. I sprained my ankle. The next day, the company calls me. Come to find out, someone in their company dropped and was like, we want you to bring you in now. And I said, I'm walking on crutches right now. And I said, dude, I'm on crutches right now. I'd love to come in. He's like, man, I wish we really could have. I wish you came through or whatever and stuff. So I'm devastated. I walk home to where I'm living with my roommate. I said, what do I do? Literally, the thought of my head said, fuck it, I'll act. Literally. I hopped on Craigslist. I went up. I found most of my first jobs on Craigslist, bro. You
can find a lot of shit on Craigslist.
I think you don't want to find, man. Yeah. Let's not get into that. But yeah, so I got on Craigslist and I found this dinner theater show called Dinner with the Family, which is kind of like a Tony and Tina's wedding thing.
Yeah.
Oh God. That was a mess. That show was a mess, man. It was a great learning experience, don't get me wrong. But we all knew it. So I get there. I do the thing. Sometimes in the audience, we'd have a packed house. We had 35 people in the audience. Oh, my God, this is great. Then one performance, we had, 5 people in the audience, and one of them was a reviewer. And we went from Act 1 to Act 3 to Act 2 to Act 1 to Act 3, because one lady dropped in the last second. So this other girl who was drinking alcohol in the back before the show started was like, I'll take her lines. So she went to step up to do her line, the first of the one she was replacing. Boom! Blank space, nothing. And we all had to scramble in the moment and be like, okay, we're going to... It was, being in a bad show, really some of the biggest times for me to learn as a
yeah.
I'm grateful to work on really amazing projects and with amazing directors and collaborators and such, but when I'm on a bad, I try, I'm very selective and stuff, but being in those early bad shows, I was like, oh, this is how not to do things.
Yeah.
Then when you get on a set where it's running, you're like, okay, this is it. This is the thing. So, and then right from there, it just catapulted, man. I got my website made. Someone from the show who I was working with in the cast said, you need an agent. She hooked me up with her first agent. That led to my first movie. My first movie was with Paul Sorvino. Chasing Gold. It was called Precious. I know. Precious Metal. I was a kid wrapped up in a murder. I had 3 scenes. I didn't even know who Paul Sorvino was at the time.
Yeah.
I was freaking out, being like, oh my God, this legend's here on set. I'm sitting next to him talking about dance the whole time before the scene. He's just like, yeah, dance, ballet, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, blah, blah. I did some pirouettes for him, It was just, but that was great. That was a blast. And then next thing you know, it just steamrolled from there. Then I had a manager scout me from New York via my website. They just found me. And the next thing I know, I moved to New York. And I lived in Jersey City, man. I'm familiar with Newark, I'm familiar with the PATH train, I'm all over, bro. Train at night, dude. Fuck the PATH train at night, especially on the weekends. That sucks, dude. It sucks.
Yes.
But then one thing led to the next, man, and I just fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And being prepared to see, I think luck is being prepared and being at the right place at the right time. And I was just eager and prepared, And then whenever in my life I'm not as focused, I'm not in the right place at the right time. That's why I make it very crucial for me personally to stay focused every day and eliminate distractions, especially in New York, man. You can get wrapped up in a lot of stuff if you want to, or there's so much opportunity. You got to, at this point now I have to be like, do I want to do this? Nah. Do I want to do this? Nah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have to, like you said, be selective because now you're like building almost a brand for yourself. So you have to, you start off in a film with Mr. Sorvino. You have to, start paving that kind of reputation for yourself, especially in New York City where it's so competitive in your industry, but and we'll get to it. The breadth of the body of the work that you've done, and I think it's phenomenal. And I think it's goes back to that dance kind of work ethic and training that you gotta go balls to the wall because
till I'm 80.
Yeah.
I can act till I'm 80. I saw dancers retire at 26.
Yeah.
This girl retire at 27. I don't want that.
Yeah. No.
You know what I will do? Mark my words. I will go back to one of the companies I used to dance for and choreograph, set, or direct a piece on them. I'm down with that because you can do that till you're 80 or whatever.
Yeah,
but
and
blown dance, you can't do that till you're 80.
Yeah,
Not that I liked working at. The super athletic work was my wheelhouse. I love that stuff. I ate it up. You know, but it's so taxing on the body.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually know what that feels like because I tore my fucking MCL in my knee, and that's kind of where
you do it.
Do you really want to know that story?
Was it rad? Or if it's not rad, make up a rad story.
Well, I'm not going to make up a rad story, but I can tell you, and you can decipher for yourself if it was rad. It was.
Don't get injured inside the studio. It's outside the studio.
Yes.
That was funny for me.
So it was a night after double fisting Heineken's and full glasses of Southern Comfort. And I had a pizza in my hand, and the pizza slid, and I went to go save the pizza and slammed my knee into the concrete and woke up the next morning, felt like the guy from Misery, like taking a sledgehammer to my knee. Right. And that was it. That was it. But then, like I did, like what you said, I couldn't physically dance anymore. So I wrapped it into doing choreography, which, you know, I don't do a lot of that today, but I can tell you, like, I can't listen to a song without developing choreography in my head. So yeah, that's something that you can always do, you know, I mean, direct and choreography and later in life. I mean, that's a good way to keep that dance fever in still in your kind of sphere of what you're doing.
You want to know what I've realized? Film is choreography.
Absolutely.
Theater is choreography. It's all I've gotten on sets where I've done a music video. I did a music video actually in Pennsylvania for this band called Modern Baseball, well, years back. And I had to do 3 costume changes. It was one 360 camera. It was hold on, let my buddy get out real quick. There we go. I'll bring it back in a minute when we get to the breadth of the work. But I had to do this video. It was a 360 camera, and it was one take. Literally, boom, 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 and you had the guy who was the main artist playing, so the camera's shooting him, and he's playing, and I'm the guy in the background who's a younger version of himself. And I had to do 3 costume changes on a timing to time it up perfectly with the scenes, and it was all just one take. My dance background, if I wouldn't have had that, I wouldn't have been able to pull it off. And the director even took note of that. He said, yeah, dude, I'm glad we hired a dancer for this. You know, and speaking of which, how I was drunk when I hopped the turnstile that sprained my ankle. Wasn't even in the studio doing like the twisted, cool move. No, it was never like that. That's how it always happens. But anyway, it definitely, my work ethic came from ballet, came from, you know, you're at the bar for 2 hours, and then you go into men's class after that. That definitely that's what created my just hunger and drive in acting.
Yeah, and I love how you pose that concept that acting, stage work, all that kind of stuff is choreography, because it's all timed. Even in like comedy, it's comedic timing and all that, and it lends to being, you know, the body language and all that kind of stuff lends to a lot of the concepts that we are familiar with in dance. So love that concept. I never even thought of that before, but love it, because now I'll be looking at acting in a different way than maybe I did in the past as a choreographer / dancer at one point, and see, you know, like how really what goes into all that. So So what was, Aaron, okay, so you go from dance and you go you like thrust it into this acting world, and you did like the whole kind of dinner theater kind of thing. What was the moment where you had a role or you were playing a role and you kind of got bit by the bug and said like, this is, I could do this professionally as a career?
You know, the dinner theater show kind of hit me, even though it was this, whatever kind of show. I was just so on fire doing it. I was just having so much fun doing it that I created it.
And that's what kind of propelled you to kind of say to yourself like,
100%, absolutely.
So how do you go from that to getting into like the big leagues, so to say?
Man, it literally went from like, okay, I had a scholarship to go to Tisch School of the Arts at NYU for dance. My dad wouldn't co-sign my loan. We didn't really have a good relationship when we were in house. We're better now. We're friends now. And that's when I chose to go dance with Nashville Ballet, and I got on my own. I don't take money from my parents. I worked odd jobs. I worked, Chipotle Mexican Grill, local taco restaurants galore, whatever. It didn't matter. Rode my bike everywhere and stuff. It's literally just hustle. You run into the right people. It went from doing that dinner theater show to getting an agent to doing my first movie to doing a lot of student films. I did a lot of student films, and then next thing I know, I'm in Chicago doing a lot of student films. Next thing I know, get scouted to go to New York. Next thing I know, I'm in New York. Next thing you know, I meet up with this director who wants to put me in his play. Then I do Orphans, and then we get Lyle Kessler, the actual playwright, to come see the show, and he's thrilled with it. Then that leads to a bigger opportunity through my agent, and then that leads to this. And next thing you know, I link up with the Pledge guys, and then now we're friends and such. And then I link up with my buddy from Florida, Andrew Chiaroscuro. We're about to do our 5th project. Next thing you know, I'm on Gotham. Then I shoot Madam Secretary. I mean, it just happens. You know what I mean? And I'm one of those guys. I learn if someone has something that I want to learn what they have. I would ask them 21 questions and be like, okay, so what site do you use? Buddy, I used to be, man, I worked at this place called Badaducci, Belgian waffles in Chicago, as like a survival job and stuff, because I really didn't know what I was doing with my life. I'm not as focused. If I could have had the focus, I'm 27 now. If I would have had the focus at 22 that I have now, but then again, I can't say that because I'm meant to learn what I'm meant to learn. You're exactly what you're meant to be at the moment you're meant to be.
Absolutely.
So I'm here at this moment. I might not have been able to handle it at 23 years old, when I got. So I was at this thing, Badaducci, and this guy comes over to me. One of them is now series regular on the In-Between, Justin Cornwell, who used to be my roommate in Chicago. Training Day, phenomenal actor. He came up to me. He was doing extra work on Sirens, and he said, you should get involved with this Facebook group and whatever and stuff. Immediately that night, I jump on it, and I do it. And he later told me, he said, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't do that. I've told people to whatever and execute and stuff. They don't execute. They don't do it. When I get information about how I can advance in life, I'm on it like white on rice, dude. Because I was literally, for my job, to get people to sell these $14 overpriced waffles, yelling out the window, free samples, motherfuckers! And that got the attention and stuff. No, seriously, I would say that. And people would love that. The boss would love that. And then I was selling people these $14 waffles. I was like, what the fuck is this, man? Was this a high dining restaurant? Like, that's why we're always empty. Like, it's ridiculous. I was like, I got to get out of here. So anytime someone says, oh, I use this platform for this, or this is this, I'm like, yep, got it. Yep, got it. Like, I'm not in a place now where, things are good and I'm auditioning for big stuff and I'm doing roles and stuff, big roles and stuff, and getting acknowledged for my work and stuff. I'm not where I'm like, I'm good, I don't need anything. No, dude, you never stop learning. You never stop learning. I'm a kid. The more I remove my ego from the situation and I approach it like a child, and I'm like, man, what is that person doing? Why is that person where they're, okay, what are they doing over here? What are they doing over here? What can I do over here? you just have to keep absorbing.
Yeah. Spit that shit, Aaron. Spit that shit.
Spit it, man. I'm spitting it all, baby.
Because
The secret sauce is removing your ego and being open to the universe, to trust that it's going to give you the best thing and put people in your life that will help you. Ideally, if you are exhibiting energy that attracts that sort of attention.
Yeah.
If you're exhibiting energy that attracts negative attention, you're going to get negative attention. It all starts with you, man.
Yeah.
So whenever I get in these modes where I'm like, I get in these modes, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting that, why am I not getting this, why did that, you need to do that, you need to do that. I'm not in a I'm not in a state of gratitude, man. I gotta be grateful for, and you have to stay in the state of gratitude, because that's where the universe can be like, okay, here you go.
Yep. And I do a lot of stuff like that. I do like a lot of mindfulness work in what I do. So teaching people how to be centered, how to be present, because that's where, like you said, where openness comes from. And I love that you said how the 27-year-old now, if you would have had the opportunities at 22, you don't know if you would have been able to maintain that. And I love that you kind of allowed yourself to experience those things. You recognize that the 22-year-old may not have been the 27-year-old that you are now, because that allows, we need to, in the human existence, make mistakes, learn from mistakes, understand that through those type of mistakes and errors and things like that, if you can learn a lesson or a skill or learn how to be more open to how you can improve yourself, I think that it opens up the floodgates to so many other things in life, not just professionally, but relationships and your own self and being comfortable with your own self, which then in an industry like you, all that stuff leading to how comfortable you are builds confidence. And that's what I think we see from you. You can catch that right away just from 5 minutes of having a conversation with you, that you pull people in, you're engaging, and outside of what you do, people want that in life. You know what I mean? They want to be around people that, are genuine, that have a good spirit, have a good sense of self, because they can learn from you. You're learning from other people. And I think also when we say that we've learned enough is where we've learned the less, because you learn so the day that your eyes closed, and it's all about the experience and growing into something maybe that you weren't yesterday, understanding what you do well, understanding where you have areas of opportunity for growth, and building on that. So I love that as a young guy, because Aaron, I didn't learn those lessons till a lot later in life. So if you can learn it at 27, the world is yours,
I've been very fortunate to be surrounded by literal angels in my life. I had this man, James Bonney, who literally saved my life. I was going down a dark path when I first moved to New York, very dark path, and he saved me, literally saved me.
And those are the people that make that impact. I think when you come to a place where you are now, and like I said, it took me a very long time to get there, there's always that instrumental person that kind of was like I was just going to say is like the key holder to everything. And once they hand you that key, unlock that, then it becomes almost, not how I look at it, Aaron, is then it becomes I have to pay that forward. So I have to learn as much as I can in my own experience, because there's going to be somebody that I meet along the way that I can then pass that key off, pass the torch over to somebody else. So
it's all about helping others, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
sorry.
No.
You first.
No, go ahead.
I worked with Lance Henriksen recently. And he's an OG, as you know, in the genre.
Yeah.
He said, it's all about kindness. It's all about kindness, this whole industry. It's not about, yeah, you're a great actor, whatever. Are you a good human? Are you paying it forward? The better human I am, the more I'm working outside of my ego, the more I'm paying it forward and helping other people and not being self-centered, the better artist I'll be.
Absolutely. Great advice. Great advice. And that's for anything. So people who are out there listening, young.
Not even just entertainment. That's life.
Absolutely.
People to hang around with assholes, negative people, unless you have some complex that you like repeating those psychological traumas in your life that happened earlier and you're unaware to it. Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. And the people who live their life as like assholes, I think that they get some instant. It's more of a testament to who they are and what they need for self-gratification than anything else. So fuck the assholes. We started out off camera and we were talking about you mentioned being in a boy band.
Yeah. So I used to be in a boy band. Yeah. Unfortunately, the boy band has shut down.
Okay.
Sadly, one of our members got involved in the wrong place at the wrong time. And we had our first song on Spotify. The band was We Are Nation. And we had our first song on Spotify. We were about to take our second song. It sounded hot. We were about to take it to World Star. We were about to take it to TikTok because the song references that and stuff. I was mainly a rapper in the group. And then that, I know, right? You can see
I know you got skills, but that's people may out there. Okay, we'll talk about that.
Well, we'll talk about what the boy band taught me. See, we all talk. I always try to look at every failure as a success, or where can I learn from this? Because we're locked in this world where it's all about winning. No, try to think differently. Try to think unnormalized, right?
Thank you.
So yeah, the boy band fell through, and next thing I know, I'm able to put my full attention back on acting because I was waiting to find out what's going on with this project, what's going on with this, and I was locked in this space because I felt like I was splitting my energy in many places. Next thing I know, the boy band fell through. Next thing I know, I booked Madam Secretary. Then this information comes out. Then I booked this. Then we move forward with this. And I'm like, oh, that's what it was. So I learned from the boy band that I might have been putting more energy into it than I needed. Because I was literally in that thing for 2 years.
Wow.
There were so many different iterations, so many different members and stuff. But I made relationships with people, members that I still have relationships with, that we still talk, that we still help each other, that we still support each other. I made a relationship with a manager that him and I still stay in contact with, that we still support each other. Like tonight I'm going to some gala for the Widescreen Film Festival in Las Vegas, and the special guest is he's friends with Vivica Fox, so I'm going to be like, hey, Paul Anthony, blah, 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 So just trying to link everything up. And I learned from the boy band that I had skills in music and rapping and stuff, and that's where Tucci Badaducci was born. And I said, whoa, I can really rap. But Tucci Badaducci is one of those rappers who it's a parody. I'm not trying to be hard and cool and tough and stuff. That's the joke.
Yeah.
Even if he's trying to be hard and cool and tough, he's not. And that's where the joke is. And people have compared it to Lonely Island. People have said, oh, this needs to be on SNL. So my next move is I'm going to talk to someone law-wise and, try to get everything, in order because I have this little thing. It would be really funny if I pitched it to SNL. I have this idea. I'm not going to say what it is, but yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Dude, I could totally see you on SNL.
That's who I have to lose, literally, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, be bold, take a risk. They say no. My dad did teach me. My dad taught me several great lessons in life. He said, next. That's a great thing to develop in acting. Well, I don't get this role. Next. And sometimes I can get so into, oh, is this audition good? Are they gonna this, blah, 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 and just go nuts and crazy and stuff for no reason at all. Just next, on to the next one. And he also said PYM, pick your moment.
I like that, PYM.
Know when to boom and know when to, okay, this isn't my time.
when to move on to the next thing when you've exhausted it. I like the two great things that I can actually steal from you and incorporate into the work that I do with people, because I think people get, and especially in like the art world, where music, dance, acting, whatever, you're putting so much of yourself out there. You're like the vessel for your craft. You're your paintbrush. You're your product that you're giving out to people. And it's easy to get wrapped up in, like you said, the ego part of it, because you hear a no, if you're not built up to be a certain person, it could devastate you. It can get you fixated on why they don't like you, rather than what can I learn so that no next time turns into a yes. So I think those are great lessons that your dad can instill in you, that as a young 27-year-old guy navigating not only the world but navigating the world of the entertainment business, because it is a business. And dude, I totally could see you on SNL. I don't think that that's far of a stretch. So I hope that whoever the players that are getting involved with this kind of do their thing, because tell them, okay, you mentioned Tucci, all right? So break it down. Who is this character, and how did you develop him?
I was training at the Atlantic Acting School last evening conservatory, and I was with one of my friends. I connected with one of the actors in the program, and we got really, really good friends. And I said, yeah, I got this idea about this funny guy, and maybe he, is from Long Island City, and he wants nothing more than to be a rapper. Tucci. Maybe his name is Tucci, because I was thinking Stanley Tucci. I liked his last name, Tucci Badaducci. That's kind of funny. Tucci Badaducci, okay. Tucci Badaducci always keeps it Gucci, wearing house slippers, but he ain't a floozy. When he wrapped up, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So the next thing I know, we start developing this thing, and Tucci Badaducci is this guy from Long Island City, and then I developed with this girl that I also met in the program as well at Atlantic, and next thing you know, maybe he wants nothing more than to be a rapper, but his family is part of the mob, but he keeps getting pulled into jobs that he doesn't want to do, but because he just wants to make money for studio time, you know what I mean? So he can be a rapper, and he's good, but he's not that good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never something. And so I started just putting this out, and people just loved it. And then that's how I was born. Then I shot those 3 music videos, and it's funny because I don't want this high production quality whatever and stuff, or like these, model like all rap videos, got diamond chains and stuff. The chains he wears are fake,
Yeah.
The Jesus piece and the silver chain, those are real, but the main gold chain, it's a fake chain. And if anything, he rides a bike. He doesn't ride a Bentley. If anything, he rides a Pinto. He doesn't ride a Ferrari.
Yeah.
If anyway, his women in his videos are average looking,
Yeah.
Bottles that these rappers have, he's not popping champagne. Maybe he's like twisted water bottle caps. Like, dude, I mean, that's like the exact opposite. And I just think it's so much more funny because I'm not trying to be this bougie thing.
Yeah.
I feel like we live in this world of, don't get me wrong, social media. And speaking of motivational speaker, I just did a music video with an artist called Nick Santonastasso. If you go on YouTube, it's called Do You Hear Me? You look Santo, Do You Hear Me? You saw that, right?
I saw it on your Instagram, and bro, literally, like, not only did I get the chills, but like what it gave me, like, I'm like, not only, this, I don't want to ruin it for people. I want people to go. I'm going to actually put, he has a YouTube, you said?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so I'll look it up.
Man, he's a motivational speaker, man. And he's a hell of an artist, dude. That song, he sounded smooth, dude.
Awesome.
It's projects like that where I feel like that was one of the best projects for me, because even though it was a passion project, I felt like I was part of something bigger than the country, bigger than myself, bigger than, global. Talk about suicide prevention, man. That's something that everyone can relate to, I feel like, because we've all had that part of our life where we're just going on the day-to-day and we're like, man, what is the point of all this? Yeah. And I look at social media and you see these, man, I'm in Vegas right now and I'm walking around getting these girls' Instagram. I look at their Instagram. They all look like, Victoria's Secret models. Then I see them in person. I'm like,
where the fuck did she go?
Right. No, it's not just girls, but also guys too. Like I added this guy the other day on Instagram, whatever and stuff. He's talking all this, whatever stuff that I get on his Instagram. I'm like, it doesn't relate, man. It doesn't calculate, So.
And I'm gonna put his when I post this episode, I'm gonna put the link to his YouTube so people can check it out, because I don't want to ruin it. I want people to be as touched and as motivated and as inspired as I was when I saw it on your Instagram feed. It literally was something that kind of, you talk about everything for the right place, right time, and I think it may have been something that I needed to see at that moment to just say, like, you talk about not putting labels or not putting yourself in a fucking box. My man is out there doing his thing and could have had a lot of excuses or a lot of reasons why he wanted to give up and not do this thing called life anymore. But man, if that's not a story to get you inspired and kick yourself in the ass and say, I gotta stop feeling fucking sorry for myself, that's phenomenal. So I'm glad that you were part of that, because now you're bringing that to an audience that may not have seen it, that now can, you do a lot of funny stuff on your Instagram, and I think it was also a great thing to see that different texture and color of how, life can be funny and joke around and stuff, but sometimes we do need to get serious and down to business, and people need to be heard and listened to. So love that you posted that out there. Also, I gotta say, Aaron, you got fucking skills as a rapper, man.
Oh, what did you see? Millennial? Is that what you saw?
I think that's what. Yeah, I may have seen that. Yeah.
This rhythm, I admire the gin. My brain is
Yeah.
Consuming like fire, so feel the burn. Follow through, old school. Karma's a bitch. Motherfuckers get what they deserve. Yeah.
So is that something, since you're a chameleon and you like to be open to like trying all these different experiences, right, like how serious are you thinking about turning that Tucci Badaducci into Aaron's world and maybe doing something with that? Because that's not something that comes natural for a lot of people. Yeah. And not only that, but I think your flow and your style. I'm a 90s hip hop person. I came up through the hip hop, generation where it was authentic, real hip hop. Not just
flow. I've got a 90s flow, definitely.
You totally got that authentic 90s real lyricist, spit lyrics, and got skills, freestyle kind of vibe. So what is your mindset around something like that?
I don't want to do that. Gucci gang, 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 Gucci gang. Sweat that red, don't do that. No, I'd much rather spit something. Individualism is fear-driven, always wondering if anybody gets in. Security systems assist the devil's mission. Secret society said divided me from counterparts. Efforts of technology serve as natural body art, money and machines. See, I'd much rather do something that is real and lyrically dense. I mean, some of the best in the game. We're talking Nas, we're talking Eminem. I mean, these people are lyricists, and I think they revolutionize. They're a mirror and reflection of society, much like film and cinema is. What's my plan with that, man? The boy band gave me the realization that I have that and let me kind of play with it and craft it. I don't know. I'm letting this Tucci thing happen because then what I'd have to do is I don't want to split my energy too much because I already got a lot of acting stuff going on, that the music is kind of becoming a way that I what's the word? Not disassociate. When I need to take a break from acting, like on the weekend to take a break, the music is becoming something that I do as a hobby.
Gotcha.
I'm just putting it out there. Now, do I want to do an album? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm playing with different characters, too, like Trick. I got this movie, Trick, Smooth Johnny. Little do y'all know, I've got a Smooth Johnny track that has been written and recorded and professionally mastered and everything that the director has heard and everyone loved it and stuff. Fortunately, they couldn't put it in the movie because they had the Swedish person who already made their movie, their music and stuff, and he wanted all the rights to the music and stuff. I'm still going to shoot something for that, man. And I'm going to release it as my own PR. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
These characters are coming out. You know, we've got Tucci Badaducci. We've got Smooth Johnny's another rapper in the game. We got Dalla Villa. You know, Dalla Villa was the name of the boy band. You know, so I don't know what it is yet. I don't know if it's going to be an album of just Aaron Dalla Villa's, you know, like tracks and stuff, or if it's Tucci Badaducci, Smooth Johnny, whatever and stuff. What do you think?
Well,
I'm trying to get advice from everybody.
You're mentioning it, and as you're talking, what I can kind of like how I was kind of connecting it is that's how kind of Nicki Minaj, she does things. She has like all these personas, Roman and Nicki and all this kind of stuff. Onika that she comes out with. So she's doing it successfully. And it allows her to put these different colors of characters and styles and vibes and all that stuff on her album, encapsulated in one album. I think that would, I mean, as someone who likes hip hop, that's why I liked Eminem Slim Shady when he came out, Marshall Mathers LP when it came out, because it was almost like auditory wise watching a movie that I was listening to different characters, how they were, you know, what they were all about. We had like Stan from Eminem, Slim Shady. We had all these characters that were pulled out through music, and it was almost like a different genre that was being built. That not only do we can see Aaron play different characters in different roles, small screen theater, TV, all that kind of stuff. But now we can see or hear those characters come to life on something like an album. I mean, to me,
I've already got several Tucci tracks. My only thing is that right now a lot of the Tucci tracks are covers. Some of them have been, so I have to buy the beats.
Yes.
There are some producers that I've worked with. I bought their beats. Then there's stuff where I'm learning how to create beats and stuff. You know what I mean? So for any artist, I think we always get into this thing of like, oh, it has to be perfect before I let it out. No, dude, it will never be perfect. Literally, do your best at it and then just put it out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea, man, you know, because I've already got even Maxwell Peterson III. I was in the studio a couple months back with the guy who did the opening for Pledge. And he wanted me to play Maxwell Peterson III doing a little voiceover to the track he created. And it sounds like fire, you know? So it's just these different characters that I've played that I've really sunk into that I can bring into this album. And I've got songs written that I've already recorded and stuff that I just have to change the beat or get someone to make a new beat on it and stuff. So I've already got it there.
Yeah. And
it's really, I could put out an album now if I wanted to.
And dude, like when it's time, like you said, everything has its time and its place. Drop that shit because you definitely got skills that I think it's something that people, especially younger people, can maybe see somebody that's a little younger in age and kind of also has like a kind of like a throwback vibe to really what hip hop is about and introduce them to the fundamentals of what they listen to now and where it came from. So I say when it's time, and I know that's how you roll, is when it's time and it has its place, it'll be out there. I definitely say go for it, man. I mean, you haven't pulled back from that shit in any part of your career, so why do it with something like music where it obviously comes natural to you? So
how many songs do you think I need on the album? Or do an EP first?
I mean, it's crazy now with like you said, with things like with social media and all that kind of stuff. people are dropping EPs and full-length albums and not backed by a big studio or record company, and these things are blowing up.
I would just, honestly, bro, I would literally just want to put it on Spotify just to have it out there and be like, just so if anyone says anything, oh, you do this? I'm like, yeah, it's right over there.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. It's about having it accessible and ready. Right. So when the situation presents itself, you can say,
"Oh, the situation present." I had a director the other day ask me for a reel. They're like, "You have a reel up?" Yep, here you go.
That's it. That's how, and I think your music should do it the same way, because I like when I loved it. Loved the Tucci Badaducci, was cracking up. But behind it, as a music lover and someone who absolutely loves hip hop, I was like, okay, but there's something else going on behind all this comedic stuff, that this cat got skills. And like when I was like eager to talk to you about it, because I was like, I hope he's doing something with it, because I think it would be dope. I think it would fucking blow up. I really do.
Well, that's what the comments on Instagram would sometimes get me, because people would be like, they would comment, as opposed to like laughing, they'd comment, fire, fire, fire. He's got bars. And I'm like, wait, you guys think this is bars? This ain't nothing compared to what I could
really do.
Yeah, exactly. Like some real intellectual stuff, you know what I mean?
And I love that. I love that.
The industry right now, like,
yeah, that's crazy.
It's just terrible. It's just terrible, and they don't have the,
Yeah, absolutely. So talk to me about what projects you have coming up that we can get people excited about seeing you in. I mean, people can see the stuff that you did in Gotham, and I mean, when I tell you that I do research for people who are going to be on the show, and I look at their IMDb's, and I'm looking, and they may have a couple of pieces of work on there. Aaron, you gotta fucking scroll like a motherfucker down his, because he's been in a lot of shit, a lot of great parts in great films, great TV shows, a lot of short films, which I love. I love short films. I think that is where we're seeing a lot of the bringing back to what movies really are about. I love anything independent, because I think when you strip down all that bullshit and, like, don't get me wrong, for someone like you, big budget films, like, but the smaller, low budget maybe, and I even hate that word low budget, because it insinuates that because it has a smaller budget that it's not good. And I think a lot of the stuff that's gained recognition, let's say in the last 5 years, has been Sundance Film Festival movies and shorts and all that kind of stuff. The genre is really like doing its thing now. But you got tons of shit. So what can people look forward to that's coming up in Aaron's world?
So I have the music video, most importantly, the music video about suicide prevention. You guys can find that right now on YouTube from Santo. Do You Hear Me? It was directed by my friend and frequent collaborator, Andrew Kiroscuro. Want him to say hi real quick. AK, get in here real quick. Say hi.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on, bud?
I literally was right by the
door. He directed and developed the concept for Do You Hear Me? That was our 4th project. We're about to head into our 5th project, which is going to be a zombie film in 2 weeks. We're in Vegas right now. We're both nominated for our first project, The Fold, which you can find on his website right now, called Kiaro Pictures, KIARO Pictures.com. We were both nominated. I was both nominated for Best Actor, Best Director. He won Best Director, so holla. So, yeah,
Thanks,
we're
guys.
just waiting for that next thing, and we got a lot going on with the projects that we did. Also a TV pilot that we've already shot, and that we're going to be pitching to the right people.
Andrew,
So yeah.
I just wanted to mention,
Yeah.
you weren't in the conversation earlier, but and Aaron can fill you in on what I do for a living, but I think what you did was phenomenal. Okay, I'm going to actually show it to people that I work with because I'm a social worker by trade. So
perfect.
Yeah, I think the message that you came up with, and Santo and Aaron and all the collaborative piece to it, it touched me when I saw it on Aaron's feed, and it's something that I want to bring into people that maybe need a little kickstart in life, and I think what you guys did were great. So all the accolades that you're getting for it, well deserved.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So,
You got it, bud.
Yes. Suicide is a pretty prevalent issue all over the world. So, hopefully the video creates some sense that individuals experiencing those kinds of thoughts can, reach out and communicate them and find help and know that they're not alone and dealing with those types of things.
Well, I thank you for somebody who deals with a lot of people who are trapped in that darkness, who don't feel like there is a light at the end of the tunnel or the resources out there. This will be something that I incorporate into the work that I do with people. So I really, really, pass that along to Santo as well, that, the message that you guys kind of brought to everybody was very powerful, very well received on my end. So I'm going to pay that forward to the people who I work with so they can get inspired.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And we're going to be probably shooting a music video later. He's working on his lyrics right now. He wants Tucci Badaducci in it.
Yeah. Nice.
Filming stuff. We might shoot in the desert. We were there here the other day. We're staying with a family friend of his mom's in Vegas right now, and we were shooting with their dad the other day. We were shooting like AR-15s and stuff, and guns and stuff in the desert the other day. Dude,
that's
crazy.
what I want to tell you. In a few hours, we're going back out to the desert to shoot the AK.
Let's go!
I want to go.
Self-tape. We're going to shoot stuff. So anyway, cool.
Yeah. So
he's fucking awesome, dude. So we got that. Kiaro Pictures, KIARO Pictures.com. You guys can see two of the projects we've done, and also the teaser of something that I helped produce called MIAO. So The Fold, which is our first film, The Coming Horizon, which is our second. As you saw in my reel, you have The Fold and The Coming Horizon. MIAO, then we did the Suicide Prediction. We're about to do the Zombie one, the fifth one. It's going to be this crazy 5-minute micro short. It's going to be insane. I've got a movie on Hulu right now called Pledge. These guys, the Pledge guys, they're on to something, man. They're working on other projects right now. They're really fucking talented. Zachary Weiner, Daniel Robbins, this great team, Mark Rappaport. I mean, these people, I love working with them as well, so I'm excited to work on their next project. I just wrapped a feature called Alpha Rift that should be out next year. Director Dan Lance. I was working opposite Lance Henriksen in it. That was a joy. I mean, he's a legend in the genre game. Madam Secretary, I've got an episode of Madam Secretary Season 6, Episode 3, airing in a few weeks. I'll know in a couple weeks if I have a radio voiceover for Liberty Mutual coming out. I got to email them. That was through Abrams Artist for voiceover. And then working on Trick. Going to Screamfest Horror Film Festival, October 8th.
Nice.
For the screening of Trick, directed by Patrick Lussier, who worked with some of his notable films are Drive Angry and My Bloody Valentine, starring Omar Epps, Jamie Kennedy, and Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins, which is another OG in the genre game, played a great character called Smooth Johnny. Todd Farmer penned the script. Phenomenal work experience on that. Getting a theatrical release October 18th. And then also I have another film premiering there, Immortal, director Rob Margolis. One of his films, Yes, is making a lot of buzz right now with actor Tim Realbuto, who shares the same publicist as me, who I recently worked with in a short called House Sitters. It's this funny little short about these two guys who try to get rid of a body after a night of partying. So a little Weekend at Bernie's in there. So yeah, man. Got things coming out, a lot down the pipeline, but if you want to get to know me immediately, check out KRPictures.com. and definitely pledge on Hulu. I'm so happy with my work as Maxwell Peterson III. Probably some of my favorite work.
Awesome. So everybody, I'm going to, when we post this video for Aaron, I'm going to post all of his ways that you can get in touch with him, his IMDb, his Facebook, Instagram, his actual website, and everything that you can kind of follow his journey, follow his work. You guys can thank me later about it, and then you guys gotta add him on Instagram so you can follow Tucci Badaducci, which, by the way, think that he needs his own Instagram.
Interesting you say that. That is the second person who has told me that Tucci Badaducci needs his own Instagram. Now, here's my question. Aaron Dalla Villa already has, speaking of third person, not to sound like an asshole, but I already have my own Instagram, and I'm dropping Tucci Badaducci for people to know it. I've already got a built-in fan base. Would it be weird to start, would I have to start from scratch with Tucci Badaducci, or does it matter?
No, I say that you post them on both.
Yeah, and then I just try to get people to follow Tucci Badaducci. And then I can create short videos in the character Tucci Badaducci in the real world.
Yes.
This is the second time I know it. The universe affirms it when someone says it, and then they affirm what that person said before. My boy, I'm a shout out to Logan Riley Bruner. I just worked opposite him. Phenomenal actor, dude. This guy's doing Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime in Colorado right now. We did the short House Sitters opposite each other. He was the one who first said, yo, Tucci needs his own channel. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on. So anyway, you just affirmed it for me.
Throw it out there.
Yep.
You know, it's a great way for you to cross-market who you are, who Tucci is, show people your skills, so when you do drop albums or EP or tracks or whatever, you could cross-market. That's all this thing is about. To capitalize on that free marketing that social media comes with, that you would have to pay somebody to do. People love to see it come from the person. They love to see it unclean, unperfect. They want to see it the way that you're packaging everything up. So I'd say definitely give it a shot, give it a go. And dude, I mean, you 27 years old, the shit that you've accomplished and the shit that you got coming up is very impressive. And I wish you nothing but the best. I want to throw a couple things out there before you leave. One, you always have a place here at the Unnormalized Podcast to discuss whatever you got coming up, whatever you want to drop, whatever info, just to shoot the shit, whatever. Feel free to reach out to me, keep me, posted on projects that are coming up, whatever I can do to help you to promote your things. I totally am a fan. And the second thing I want to kind of mention to you, and you don't have to give me an answer right now, you could just think about it, because I know you're a busy guy, but we have a bunch of different segments that we do here at the Unnormalized Podcast, and one coming up is with my boy, Verse, who is an independent hip-hop producer, and he is doing a segment called Verse for Verse, which is a play on like a MC battle, but instead it's bringing the actual person has to come up with the most fire verse that they can come, and it's going to be battling somebody else, and it's almost like a tournament style to take the crown of who is got the most fire verse. So if Tucci or Aaron want to kind of throw their thing in there and you got some time, we would love to have you on Verse for Verse.
So my connection with Tucci Badaducci, I know his manager, Vinny Badaducci. So Vinny Badaducci is also Tucci Badaducci's cousin and manager, and he thinks he's got real skills and stuff. So let me reach out to Vinny Badaducci and see if Tucci Badaducci would be interested. I think this sounds like something right up his alley.
Pose it to the powers that be with Tucci, and just also drop that I am Italian, so we're gonna keep it Paisan, so.
Oh snap! Yeah, you are Italian.
So we'll just keep it Paisan, you know what I mean? But Aaron, buddy, thank you. This has been probably the most fun interview that I've had thus far. I think you're a great guy, super talented, and everybody go check him out. Again, I'm going to post everything that you need to know for Aaron in the comments of this episode. And everybody, thanks for joining the Unnormalized Podcast with your host, Frankie A. and Aaron Dalla Villa. And everybody, get unnormalized.
That's right. I love it.
Bitch, who the fuck is this? It's after 9:30. I need my sleep, my beauty sleep. At least 8 hours so I can creep. Fuck. I run the block on Magic Street. Tucci's back to rock the beat. Woo! Bitch, who the fuck is this?